Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today we are discussing the best and the only alternatives to Weller bourbon. I have seen this topic discussed in other places. For example, on the TikTok, I saw some idiot sitting there on TikTok talking about the best alternatives for Weller bourbon, and he was all blah 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 blah. And then I was like, this guy's an idiot. So I swiped until I found that one guy doing parkour poorly. Now, not everybody who gives the advice that I'm about to tell you is wrong, is a bad person or an idiot. But some of them are. And I am 100% willing to admit that I'm also an idiot. But not when it comes to this topic. When it comes to the subject of the best alternatives, and really the only alternatives for Weller bourbon, I am 100% right. And dang it, I will stand by that. All day and all night. So if you want me to set you on the right path when it comes to Weller bourbon, and what alternatives there are for Weller bourbon when you can't find Weller bourbon, then this video is for you. And you know what else is for you? Good, healthy skin. Which is a perfect segue into today's video sponsor. Today's video is brought to us by our great friends over at Hanley. Hanley is uncomplicated skincare for men. When I first heard about a men's skincare system, I was like, no time for a skincare system. Plus, how would I even know how to use it? Well, guess what? Hanley, first thing you see when you open the box, directions on how easy it is to use their skincare system. Before I started to use Hanley, my face looked like a moon rock. My pores were deep and dark and looked like it got peppered by asteroids from all over the universe. But after using Hanley's level 3 skincare system for a while, my wife was like, hey, is your face from outer space? Because you're looking out of this world. Their level 1 system includes a wash, a scrub, and moisturizers for the morning and night. The AM moisturizer has SPF 20 built in to be the middleman between the sun and your skin. Their level 3 system, which I use, includes this super serum and this eye cream. The super serum will firm you up and help steamroll them wrinkles. Taking care of your skin has never been super high on the cool meter, but having healthy man skin will go the extra mile for the love of your life and when you meet her. And even if you've already met that special someone, they will appreciate you taking care of the largest organ on your body. Because Hanley is sponsoring this video, they're offering my viewers a special deal. Click on my link in the description below. You will receive 30% off your first box of Hanley. Plus, you'll get a free gift. I recommend their nail kit. And you'll get 20% off your subscription to Hanley forever. Thank you so much, Hanley, for sponsoring this video. And thank you for showing me that my skin doesn't have to be a 2 out of 10. All right, we got the skincare routine out of the way. Now let's talk about what to do when you can't find the right whiskey. So you're a Weller fan. Whether it's the Special Reserve, or the Antique 107, or the Full Proof, or the Weller 12 year, or the Weller CYPB, which I don't own, or a Weller Single Barrel, which I don't have, or William freaking LaRue Weller. You love these whiskeys. You love them. You love them so hard. But speaking of hard, they're hard to find. Not every day you're gonna walk into a store and find a Weller 12 sitting on the shelf. Weller Full Proof at MSRP? Hardly. Weller Antique? Maybe somewhere. In some places you can just get a bottle of Antique 107 once in a while. And the Special Reserve, depending on your state and depending on the time of year. But Weller Special Reserve, the 90 proof offering from Buffalo Trace, may be easier to find just depending on the case. What makes the Weller line so special in the Buffalo Trace lineup? Why does everybody love it so much? When the Pappy Van Winkle craze went absolutely bozo bonkers nuts and everybody was like, must find the Pappy, bring me to Pappy, bring me to Pappy, bring me to Pappy, until Cody ran out of Pappy. When people couldn't find Pappy Van Winkle, they were like, I need an alternative to Pappy Van Winkle. Well, Buffalo Trace only has one wheated mash bill. That means that their wheated bourbon is made out of corn, wheat, and malted barley, instead of corn, rye, and malted barley like the other products from Buffalo Trace and many other bourbons around the country. USA, friggin' America. So people got to thinking and people got to sharing the fact that the whiskey inside the Weller bottles was the same whiskey that was inside the Pappy Van Winkle bottles. Now, is that true? Sort of, but not really. Just because the recipe of the whiskey is exactly the same doesn't mean that all the characteristics of the bourbon will be exactly the same. For example, the Pappy Van Winkle products might be aged in different areas of the warehouse. They may be stored in special locations where barrels age in the manner that they want them to age perfectly for that length of time, so they get the perfect profile for those extra super special Pappy Van Winkle bottles. And then the Weller bourbon might start out as the same thing as a Pappy Van Winkle wheated bourbon whiskey, but their barrels could be stored in different areas. And of course, they're typically younger varietals of that wheated mash bill. The barrels are dumped at a younger age, with the closest thing to a Pappy Van Winkle age statement being the Weller 12-year. Well, Buffalo Trace plays this allocation game, and they don't produce as much Weller as the public demands. So this stuff is like super sought after, and you just can't find it. So if you can't find Weller bourbon, then what do? You gotta get a different bourbon. And if you love the Weller flavor profile, then what in the heck do you do? Which route do you take? And this is where the problem comes in. This is where idiots go blibbity blah blah, blah blah blibbity blah. And you know that they're talking nonsense because they literally say blah 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 blah. Typically, these experts will get extra super expertal. That doesn't help my case for not being an idiot. They try to get extra super smart, and they start recommending whiskeys based off of the recipe of the whiskey. These extra super big idiots, again, no offense if this is what you recommend, because not all of you are dum-dums. But that one guy on TikTok just revved me up. He started my engine with no oil in it, that son of a bitch. And the reason that the way he rubbed me was so wrong is because he was basically just repeating maybe something he had heard before. And do you know what it was that he was recommending? Other wheated bourbons. Larceny small batch, Larceny barrel proof, wheated bourbon from Heaven Hill. Old Fitzgerald, an older take on that same wheated mash bill from Heaven Hill. Rebel 10-year, one of my favorite wheated bourbons on the planet, but not an alternative to Weller products, damn it. Then we have one of the oldest wheated bourbons on the planet, Maker's Mark, the red drippy wax, the signature sign of Maker's Mark. But if they told you it was Weller, you'd send it back. Then there are other distilleries producing wheated bourbons as well. Bardstown Bourbon Company has a nice wheated bourbon. Green River has a nice wheated bourbon. This Holiday Soft Red Wheat 6-year wheated bourbon is pretty damn good. But it is not an alternative to Weller. No, no, no. When people are seeking an alternative, they're not looking for something that shares the same recipe. Just because there's wheat in the mash bill of the bourbon does not make it an alternative to Weller. Why is that, Matt? Because it tastes nothing like it. All these distilleries have their very own profiles, their very own signature tastes. You add wheat to it, it gets a little bit different than if you add rye to it. But the underlying flavor profiles of these distilleries remain the same. That Larceny and some of the old Fitz stuff, the younger Rebel wheated products are so nutty. They're so nutty. Maker's Mark is a bit farmy and grassy, and if you put them in a blind flight with Weller products, you would immediately know which glass C is the wrong one. You would know, because they don't taste similar. They don't taste the same. If you're recommending to people that they are to purchase other wheated bourbons when they're looking for Weller, then you're doing them a disservice. They want what tastes like Weller, not what shares the same recipe. If you ask your significant other to pick up some street tacos on the way home, and they pop in the door with a bag of Taco Bell, you will say, what the hell? Just because it has a tortilla and carne asada doesn't make it the same thing. What I'm saying is this: if you're looking for an alternative to a Weller product, then look no further than picking something else up from Buffalo Trace. It's literally the only alternative because it literally tastes the most similar. Alternatives to Weller: Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor, Hancock's, Elmer T. Lee, Stag, Blanton's, Rock Hill Farms, which I don't have a bottle of, or just good old Buffalo Trace. Those products and other products from the Buffalo Trace distillery are the closest thing that you can get to Weller. And I know what you're thinking, hey Matt, you dumb green idiot. We can't find this stuff either. We can't get it either. Well, guess what? If you want something that tastes like this, it comes from the same place. The underlying notes in these products are the same underlying notes in these products. You may find the Weller products to be softer on the palate or more approachable than the rye releases, but in reality, super doubt it. And if you don't believe me, then I've got a little game for you to do. It's called the blind flight. Pour yourself an Antique 107 or whatever other Weller product you have on hand, and then pour other products from the Buffalo Trace distillery. Say you have an E.H. Taylor small batch, an Eagle Rare, and a Blanton's and a Buffalo Trace. Put those in the same lineup with that Weller, but do it blind so you don't know what it is. Have 5 glasses, spin them all up, and pick out the Weller. If you are successful and you picked out the Weller, I guarantee you it will be more difficult than you think it will be. The profile, the nose, and the palate on a lot of these whiskeys are very similar. Now do the same 5 pours and add a larceny to the mix, or a maker's mark, and then try to find the odd man out, the bottle that most people will suggest as an alternative to Weller. If one of these bottles is in a blind flight with a Weller product and other Buffalo Trace products, it will stand out like a sore thumb. You will surprise yourself at how easy it is to pick it out of the bunch, because they don't taste the same. They're completely different. So just because there is wheat in the mash bill, it doesn't mean it's a substitute for other wheated bourbons. I totally understand that what I'm saying is that if you can't find a hard to get product, find another hard to get product. But what I'm really saying is the closest thing to this is not a similar recipe from a different distillery. It's this, because they're made at the same place, by the same people, and they actually taste similar. The video makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Thank you so much for watching this rambling video. Hit the thumbs up. Just do it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Leave a comment down below. Oh, and don't forget to click my link in the description below for Hanley. 30% off your first box. Free gift, 20% off for life. That's gonna do it for this video. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on not sweating things that are approaching so fast. As I am shooting this video, I am pre-op. My surgery begins in 9 hours, and I'm not worried about it at all. I'm just sitting here not sweating a bit. Will I sleep tonight? Probably. Don't sweat the small stuff, even if the small stuff scares the shit out of you. Because I am not a fan of dentists. They scare me so much. I'm just gonna sit here staring at the camera for the next 24 hours. I'm not gonna go. I'm not going. You can't make me go. Oh, you all paid for it? So I guess I have to go. That's true. You did pay for it. I'll go do it. Hopefully he's gentle. And he whispers sweet nothings into my ear. Like, King of Kentucky. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good night, everybody. See you some other time with new teeth eventually. They will be fake, but they will be glorious. Now I understand fake breasts.